to witness every minute, every second, every frame, and SuperSport is sure to make a rain. Say you better chase your dream, Donna, you deserve it all. Before you touch the sky, just remember you gonna fall. And every time that happens, you get up and dust it off. If they ask you what you do, you tell them I play ball.
Welcome to BNL Courtside, guys. It's your one-stop shop for everything Basketball National League. KP Ndlovu here. I'm here with my two main men, Xolisi, Quinton. We connect like spinal cords. We are the tripartite alliance of basketball, and now we're going to be calling the finals Egoli versus the Duzi Royals.
Hey, boys, two men. We've used the analogy all week. It's two heavyweights, the Royals, the Magic. I think it's going to be in for an offensive showcase, but it was a great weekend of basketball action, two great semifinals, and I think a good testament to South African basketball.
Xolisi, I'm sure you loved what was going on this past weekend.
It was just great, man. You know, the whole atmosphere here at the arena, everyone that really came out, all the fans supporting the different teams, the Mountaineers being the teams who are outliers in a way because they're having to travel from the Western Cape, but I'm sure everyone was rooting for them back home. But a very different thing that we saw on the floor, but I like that the fans were out here supporting their different teams. They were identifiable too by the different team jerseys that they were wearing. I mean, the league is growing and the finals can't wait.
It's growing.
Can't wait.
That's the point I was going to make. It's really great for the league. The Mountaineers, it's the first time that they ever make the playoffs. They gave us a show. However, they were toppled by the Egoli Magic, and then that second line there, yes, the Tshwane Suns, they are not in the finals for the first time ever in this Basketball National League. The Duzi Royals came out with just too much energy. They were too strong. The Duzi Loyals are popping something over there, guys. It's going to be crazy for the Duzi Loyals right now, right?
You know, KB, I remember our build-up, and I remember standing right there by the Duzi Royals, and they were energetic, and you alluded to it, and it was like, okay, these guys are ready, they're pumped up, and they wanted to play. And I think I just feel like that energy carried on to the floor, because they came out hot, and they just played hard, and it was awesome to watch.
Well, you see, I felt like, you know, the Duzi Royals, I thought that they'd be, you know, from a fitness standpoint, I didn't think they'd be able to hang with the Tshwane Suns. But this place was so crazy and so lively. It almost felt like adrenaline just kept them going.
They just got great plays from the opening whistle. Thabo Sithole stepped up really big. I mean, stepped onto the big stage and did big things for them throughout the game. Everyone just stepped up and played big. You know, Cyril Shabalala started hot in that game. It was Yao Sithole. He played well as well for them. So the Royals really did a good job of riding the momentum, you know, and even when in the third quarter they had a problem with scoring, they were in the lead. The Suns just found it difficult to come back into that game, and the Royals really did a good job of just securing the lead and taking the win.
You got the win, guys. Now let's have a look at that first semi-final. Egoli Magic, they went up against the Mountaineers. Let's check the highlights.
Well, this was a great game, but from the opening quarter, one would not say that we were in for a highlight-filled game. I mean, both teams were rather flat. Both teams were still sussing each other out through 5 minutes, through the first quarter. But Miguel Ferrao really stepped up, first-year player in the league, coming from Wits University, but he really stepped up. And Jose Salvador, as well as Lebu Basi, really coming together and creating in the open court and also making scoring opportunities for both teams. The Western Cape Mountaineers, of course, will always play their running game, and that's what you'll always get from Sivuyile Cavani, and they played really well.
Well, it really was a tough day at the office for the Mountaineers. That first half, Lebogang Basi's energy just driving the Egoli Magic. And once the Egoli Magic got into the lead, it was literally the Mountaineers trying to chase the game. And this was in the third quarter. Gabriel going on a bit of a scoring run, and his play, and that was the play of Bruce Latumba. Two guys who started making a move for the Mountaineers, and they got within 5, and you thought that the Mountaineers stood a chance and they were back in the game. But the Mountaineers had belief. But come the end of the game, the Magic stood strong. They were led by Khwedi, led by their captain Lesego Molobati and the youngster Miguel Ferrao. And we have a look at the stats from the game, and really it was a struggle from the field for the Mountaineers. They shot 3 of 27 from the outside, 4 of 15 for the Egoli Magic. Rebounding battle pretty even, and you wouldn't expect that with the size of the front court of the Egoli Magic. The Mountaineers did manage to force 27 turnovers from the Egoli Magic, but the Egoli Magic still managed to win.
Xolisi, now I want to know what stood out for you. I'm looking at those stats. What really stood out for you?
Well, for me, for the Mountaineers, man, out-rebounded, couldn't hit from three, and they just struggled throughout the whole game. Normally, when they start a game, even against a tough opponent, they'll start hitting from outside very early in the game, and that carries them throughout the game. But they have a game plan, but they just didn't execute, man. You know, a small ball team rebounds the basketball aggressively. They didn't do it. That's why they were out-rebounded as well.
Well, a stat that has really stuck out for me, the three-point shooting thing. 3 of 27. That again tells you that you're not reading what's happening on the floor. If I'm gonna take 27 shots from the perimeter and only hit 3, I can expect to lose. But the captain said, live by the gun, die by the gun, and they died by the gun.
They died indeed. But I mean, they were outsized, they outmatched a little bit, so it was, you know, they kind of had to lug it up from outside. The next game, guys, was between the Duzi Royals and the Tshwane Suns. Let's have a look at that highlight.
This was a rematch of last year's finals. Motiba sidesteps his defender, Yao Sitole, and hits the pull-up jumper. And Thabo Sitole getting involved in the offense with a step-back 3. He was huge for the Royals.
And the Suns really chasing the game from the start and let the captain really struggle from the floor. Neo Matiba was 2 of 8 at halftime from the field. He didn't do much better in the second half. Larry Jackson Jr., one of the few bright lights for the Tshwane Suns on the day, but he had double-digit points. He had 16 points and also had 10 rebounds. But cometh the hour, cometh the man once again. The Duzi Royals were just playing out their skin. Cyril Shabalala, lovely baseline drive.
The Royals really showed that they could hang against the Tshwane Suns with the lead. And Fumani Maranele right there, an acrobatic play, really showing composure. He's got that hand life. He can put the ball on the floor. But Thabo Sitole as well, he was just big. He was immense. He was huge for the Duzi Royals. And no wonder he got the MVP at the end of that game. The game was out of reach for the Suns right there. The sun has been eclipsed, and really there was no coming back for the Tshwane Suns. And Cyril Shabalala as well, continuing with his leadership on the floor, and the Duzi Royals pick up the victory.
It was such an energy-filled performance by the Duzi Royals. The Loyals happy on the day. And we're going to have a look at the full-time stats now. And really one thing that sticks out for me is that 15 offensive rebounds by the Duzi Royals. They were allowed second chance opportunities. And you do not give a team like the Duzi Royals so many second chances. They struggled from the field on the inside, but those second chances really allowing them back in the game, and it gave them the game. And the Suns expected to dominate the boards.
When I see those offensive stats, guys, offensive rebounding stats, that just tells me that the Duzi Royals were a lot more hungry than the Tshwane Suns. If you recall, when we were analyzing the game beforehand, we were saying that the Tshwane Suns, that's where they had the matchup advantage, was at the front court. But if the Duzi Royals came out and out-rebounded them on the offensive glass, they really wanted this win.
You can out-rebound. Larry Jackson Jr., Gideon Mulamba, Smusa Mtembu. Those are 6-foot-plus guys with size and presence on the floor, and you can go and chase down those boards and out-rebound as much as you did. The Royals deserve the W.
Xolisi, I want to touch a little bit on George McKenna. Now, we've given him a lot of praise throughout the season, but I'm going to have to call him out a little bit in terms of some of the substitutions that were made, the time that certain players played on the floor. I think Tsepo Mati in particular. I don't know if he made the right calls in terms of who needed to be on the floor.
I'll tell you something that I found about Somusa Mtembu. This season, Somusa Mtembu has only averaged 15 minutes per game.
That's crazy.
You just can't. He's a third-year player.
Yeah.
He's developed. He's really come into his own as a defensive presence.
Yeah.
You need him on offense as well. He can alter shots. He's a rim protector. He can run the floor. He's got that presence inside. He can catch the ball. He can finish underneath the hoop. And you're giving him only 15 minutes per game. So Somusa Mtembu should have been averaging at least.
Who do you sit? Because you have Shongwe, who's a great defender and a scorer. You have Mulamba, who's a great effective player on the floor. And then you've got Larry Jackson Jr. You got to find him in the rotation.
I'll tell you, Mulamba sort of had a stagnant season, if you will. His numbers were down just a little bit. Mlungisi Shongwe, a little bit undersized, especially when they play elite teams. So you need Somusa Mtembu there. You can pair him with Larry Jackson Jr., where you've got Larry playing in the low block, have Mtembu slashing in, catching the ball in motion, and it just makes him easy. He can run the floor as well.
Exactly.
So you can definitely sit down a couple of players, sacrifice them for giving Somusa Mtembu valuable minutes on the 15 minutes.
I was going to say as well, I mean, Xolisi has really developed very, very well. you got to give the guy some game time in order for him to go to the next level. You have to. He's just too talented, too long, intimidating force on the inside. He needed to be on the floor. That's my take on things.
For me as well, I think they need help at the two-guard position.
All right, guys, Duzi Royals, they are in the finals. What makes them tick? They're one of the most popular teams in the league. I wanted to find out from the team manager, Solomzi Ngonele, what is it that makes you guys the Duzi Royals? What is it and how is it that you guys do what you do? Let's hear what he had to say.
My role basically is to manage the team on and off the floor, coordinate whatever it takes to make sure that the team delivers on the floor. You know, it's a tough job having all these personalities and egos, basically. You know, I mean, we got big names playing for the team and trying to make sure that everybody's in sync and everybody's in line. And I'm the channel between management, the coaching staff, and the players, and making sure that everybody gets along. The team obviously is from Pietermaritzburg, and the municipality in Pietermaritzburg is known as Umsunduzi. So we basically just stole the Duzi out of Umsunduzi, and we try to come up with a catchphrase or something catchy, and try to link it up with what Zulus are known for, and that's them being clothed in royalty. And I guess that's how we put the name Duzi, being representing where we're coming from, being Pietermaritzburg, and then the royalty part of it being the Royals. But guys have been working in the off-season, and we see it now. You see it on the court. It's translating onto the court. Everybody's preparing. Coaches are becoming more technical, you know, and players need to understand that this is not just a high school charity game anymore. This is business now. You know, the brand has been built, and everybody is synonymous with the brand BNL, and everybody now is seeing that basketball is coming back and it's taken over. So we need to make sure that whatever happens off the court translates on the court. The back office work has been done. Players just need to step onto the court and earn their keep. That's what they need to do. We don't have fans or followers or members. They're loyals, and those are people that are with us when we win games, that are with us when we lose games, because, you know, basketball is a game like that where you win some and you lose some, and those people stick with us through thick and thin, and you know, we can't falter them in that. You know, they love the brand, they love the team, they love the players, and they're able to associate with some of the players now, on and off the court.
Solomzi, definitely one of the GMs that is doing their thing right now in the BNL, guys, and the Duzi Royals are back in the finals. That's going to bode well for them in their marketing strategy. They are back in the finals.
Okay, I liked the fact that they lost this year, because you're testing the fan base. You're trying to find out how loyal the Loyals really are.
Nice
I think it's a good indication as to how big your fan base is, especially when your franchise starts struggling. Them in the finals, I hope they have the marketing drive that they had last year. You know, with the little fanfare, with the dancers. I hope they do that this year, because I think it's key for the league that we have such a marketing-driven team in the finals.
Here's what I love about the world of sports, KP. It is just so fickle. One day you're a hero, the next day you're down in the dumps, you know. I pretty much wrote them off because they were just lethargic to begin the season. But, you know, this happened after 1 or 2 games. But, hey, look at them now. They've gone to the finals. They've played big. They've got experience on their back. They're going to the finals for the second time. Now they take that experience into the final. The Magic are rookies in the final pretty much. And, hey, let's just see who the best man is over 3 games.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to a quick ad break, guys. We will be right back with more from BNL Courtside.
If they ask you what you do, you tell them I play ball. Tell them I play and dust it off. If they ask you what you do, you tell them I play ball. Tell them I play.
Welcome back to BNL Courtside, your one-stop shop for everything Basketball National League. I'm still here with Quinton, but I'm bringing in Lerato Malloy because we are talking about coaches. It has been one of the great things that we've seen in the league so far, closing disparity amongst the teams. And I think we have to give a tribute as well to the coaches. The coaches have been doing a great job. And Lerato, you got a chance to speak to some of the coaches. You know, what's your input on that?
Well, the coaches all have very different strategies worked out for the semi-finals and for the finals. They were all pretty confident, but also level-headed in thinking that they can't be too confident, you know, going into it. Any one of the teams in the top 4 could take it and end up in the finals.
You want to talk experience, you want to talk legacy, you want to talk heritage. You look at the top 4 coaches. Coach Craig Daniels, legacy and heritage in the Western Cape, Montana Vikings. You can look at Duzi Royals, Michelle Katalai, ex-PBR player, now coached the Soweto Panthers. He coached them to the semifinals, coached the Duzi Royals this year, they're in the finals. Flo Shingwenya, I can go through his resume. George McKenna. Those are 4 of our most storied coaches. Those are 4 people that have been involved in the growth of the game. And you know what, I don't even have to pay testament to them. Just go Google them, find out about them. These are great people.
Number 1 coach we mentioned there, Craig Daniels. Lerato got a chance to sit down with him, pick the man's brain a bit. Here's what he had to say.
How's the team morale been building up to the semi-finals throughout? Has it been consistent, and have you had to find, you know, some times where you have to encourage them to keep going?
Well, it's growing stronger literally by the practice session, because a few weeks ago we were written out of the playoffs. We were told we're not going to be in the playoffs. So, you know, that just strengthened the resolve of the players, and every game became a final for us. So, you know, if you win 2, 3 finals in a row, you just start feeling really good about what you're doing. So the team morale, the spirit, the confidence has really just grown game by game.
What's the strategy going to be, your focus on defense, offense, or a balance of both?
We really focus on what we do. We're trying to change the culture of basketball, playing high-intensity defense. Many people said at the beginning of the season it can't work. You can't do that for 40 minutes. So we have to believe in what we do. In Cape Town, we've been running a league for many years now, and that is the standard format of our league. The finals are always best of 3, sometimes even the semi-finals. So it's not that new to the guys, but to play it at this level, it's a challenge, because to beat a good team 2 games in a row, it's really, really difficult. But you know, that's what makes basketball, the players better. It makes the competition better. It makes the product for the viewer better. So it can only be a good thing.
Coach Craig Daniels able to lead his Mountaineers into the semi-finals. Kudos to him. Lerato, you had a chance to obviously to speak to him. You know, what do you take? What was your take on your conversation?
Well, you know what, Coach Daniels had a lot of confidence in his intensive defensive strategy throughout the whole season. You know, people doubted them, people doubted that it would work, and it seemed to kind of get them out of top 5 into the top 4. So I think it did kind of work for them. You know, they were the underdogs throughout the season. Even from last season, they came up really strong, and I thought they could have done a little bit better by catching up only in the 3rd. They should have, you know, gone harder on the offensive.
Well, look, I know one thing about Coach Daniels. He has a great technical staff. So Coach Quinton Rapetzi, Serge Pale, he relies on them heavily. They go through intensive game preparation. They scout, they try and make sure that they're very prepared for their opponents. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but you can't fault them for preparation.
They prepare indeed. Now, another coach who definitely is high up there in the preparations list is Coach Katalai, because he led his team into the finals. I had a chance to sit down and talk to him. It was fun. Check it out. Let's talk about Coach Katalai. Tell me about your journey in the game of basketball, from when you first bounced the ball to where you find yourself now coaching one of the most popular teams in the league.
The journey is quite funny and very interesting. I used to go and support my uncle. I didn't know exactly what was happening. I used to go with him. He used to carry me, to go take me to basketball. When him and his friends were playing, they would give me the clothes to hold. So when they play, I didn't know a thing. So they would play. When they finish, then they know there's a keeper there. I used to be like a keeper. So I would go around with him whenever there's a tournament or a practice. It's just from there then I started to pick up some interest. And then funny enough, I ended up playing with him in the same team. And to a point where he became my substitute. You know, from carrying his clothes to making him sit bench, and from there, and it just went on. The love grew and the passion grew, and I never wanted to leave off the court anymore. So that's how my interest got. I got interested in the game of basketball.
Coach, you are coaching one of the most popular teams in the league, arguably. And you've come under a bit of fire lately, because the team has come in with high expectations. You know, you guys haven't necessarily lived up to them. You're still in the playoffs, though. But you know, it must be a difficult situation for you right now, you know, based on the expectations of the team.
We're trying really to keep our head above the water right now. it's been a very tough journey, and we are definitely confident that we'll pull through. It's just a matter of us getting together and doing what we need to do beforehand, before we even play against anyone. So practices and more practices, if we can put that in, definitely we're going to pull through.
Great conversation there that I had with Coach Katalai, guys, and you know, you could hear from the conversation that I had with him that he had to sit down with his guys, get their mind in the right place, and as we saw from the semi-finals, I think he was able to get through to the players rather in the right way and got them through to the finals.
He certainly did a good job. I do think he's a very intense coach, though. Like, sometimes the conversations and the interviews, you can tell how intense he is, but that also just alludes to the passion for the game. So for me, you know, I'm not sure if I would get along if I was a player in his team, but you can't fault the man for passion for the game and liking to win.
Now, the next coach that we had the chance to speak to was Coach George Makena of the Tshwane Suns, two-time defending champs, also the coach of the national team. Let's hear what he had to say. Lerato, you had a chance to chat to him. You guys have a chance to listen to him. Ruby.
How do you feel about the players this season?
The players have been together, and they playing together, they gelling together. The only thing that can derail us probably would be injuries. But as it is now, we are injury-free. Most of the guys have recovered from major injuries, so we're looking forward to the knockout stages.
Can you tell me, how have you kept them focused on the end goal? And I know the end goal is the finals. Is defense or more offense, or a balance of both?
We're not concerned about our offense. Come game time, they know exactly what they have to do, because we're putting in so much time during our preparations at training on our offense. Defensively, if we defend together as a unit and we stop the opposition from reaching a certain amount of points, then we're on course. We wanted this team to not score more than 30 points. Today, they managed to score 38 points. To us, we did not accomplish our objective. So we're setting up per game targets. You know, last week we were unable to score 100. Again, this week we were unable to score 100. But we're saying we'll give you 40 points, and that's it. If you go beyond that, it means we failed.
Coach Makena, guys, definitely one of the, I call him one of the chess players of the league. Doesn't really give too much out, but very, very cool, calm, collected. Lerato, what was it like chatting to this guy?
He's exactly that, KP. He is cool as a cucumber on the court side while his players are on. You know what, he should have done a bit more, I think, offensively, because they're pretty confident about their offensive strategy. Defensively, today, it did not look good for them against the Royals.
It's typical, coach. I think he's a father figure. He's a father figure for many of the players. Many of the players on the floor. And one thing I do like about Coach Brabels is that he never loses his cool. Most of the time, like you said, it's his chess strategy. He sits there, thinks about it, and expresses it clearly. He's thought about it.
Now, we also had a chance to speak to Mpumi, who is the assistant on the Egoli Magic team that is going straight to the finals. Let's hear what she had to say.
You guys have had a very good season. 2014, you guys were up front, and we almost saw you guys get to the finals. How are you guys feeling about this season, 2015?
I think there's definitely a lot of excitement going on. You know, a lot of people doubted us going into this season and doing a complete revamp of the Egoli Magic. I mean, they brought in a completely new coaching staff. We got rid of a lot of the guys that were there last year, and we just brought in a nice mix of young and old.
Talking about what you guys do behind the scenes, what is the team's philosophy? What kind of team are you guys on and off the court to ensure that you get to the finals in a healthy mind state?
I think one of the biggest things about us is we're really about the work. You know, we're really about putting in the work and showing the discipline. And Flash is a very defensively minded coach, so that's really key to our success as well. So yeah, I think we're trying to be a unit. You know, I think one of the greatest things about this team is how a lot of the older guys have really mentored the younger guys. You know, we've had the older guys really take the younger guys under their wings and just mentor them, and it's been phenomenal. It's been a brotherhood amongst the guys, and as a coaching staff, you know, we've worked really well together. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time going into the playoffs.
Oh, fantastic for all you guys. I'm so happy that you guys are in a good state mentally. Team morale at the moment, are you guys really looking forward to claiming 2015 as the Goalie Magic?
We really are. You know, I think when we started at the beginning of the season, we sat together and we said, we're going to win a championship. That's what it's about. You know, and anything less than a championship for us, you know, is not good enough.
Now, that's a great conversation that you had with Mpumi. What did you take out of that conversation?
You know what, it's good to see women in the BNL working with such great coaches, with Coach Flosh being such a defensive coach. Mpumi just pointed that out, you know, to remind us that the reason Goalie Magic is who they are going to get to the finals, cool-headed, you know, with a defensive strategy being what they're focusing on.
Let me tell you a little bit about Mpumi Ramatsoga, KP. I remember that I started in the BNL as an administrator with her. She's a passionate coach, passionate person. She focuses on youth. With Farao and Klassen in the Goalie Magic, a big part of their life is Coach Mpumi Ramatsoga, and I love that about her. You know, she understands the game. She loves the game.
Our national team women will be representing us very proudly 24th of September till the 3rd of October in Cameroon. It is going to be great, guys. Emma, one of the players that's going to be out there, definitely a veteran in our squad. What's your take? What are their chances going out to that game?
AfroBasket is very difficult, KP. It's not an easy tournament, and preparation is key. And if you remember, I interviewed some of the ladies before while you were away in China, and what they were saying is that they're worried about their preparation. They're not really getting enough games in, and for me, I understand that. I was a former player. I'm not being prepared properly for some AfroBasket tournaments. We've got our butts kicked, for lack of a better word. So I think it's not going to be an easy tournament for them, but the growth of the women's game, very important. It's something that we should prioritize. We want the fairest sex playing the awesome game as well.
Awesome game. Dorato, we're going to close this thing off. Give me your last thoughts.
Well, shout out to the SA women's basketball team. They qualified for AfroBasket, and it's been a while since they last qualified. And what Quinton was saying, with preparation is very important, and I wish the girls could have gotten a little bit more time on the courts. They're behind us right now, and hopefully it does get them as far as they want to get, but I know they are unhappy with preparations going forward for AfroBasket.
Well, thank you very much, guys. Right now, we're going to go out of here, but we've still got this coveted trophy out here. It is not going to Pretoria anymore. It's going to be staying either here in Johannesburg or it is going to Durban. But right now, it's right here next to me. We are going to be out. That's it for BNL Courtside. See you next week.
Need to witness every minute, every second, every frame, and SuperSport is sure to make a race. Say you better chase your dream, Donna, you deserve it all. Before you touch the sky, just remember you're gonna fall. And every time that happens, you get up and dust it off.